So, today we're going to be doing a complete walkthrough of creating a sci-fi scene that some of you may have noticed on my website. Let me just go ahead and pull it up here. We're going to be recreating this. Super simple, super easy, pretty fun. So let's get to it. This tutorial, I originally learned this from Ducky3D, so if you want to go check him out, gotta go ahead, make a cylinder over here, change the vertices to 6, and then go ahead and press RY90. Click. Alright. Now we're going to go into edit mode. You can do that by just hitting tab. Let me turn on my screencast there. Let's come over here to face select. Go ahead and select these two faces. Hold shift so you select both of them. X faces. And we're also going to delete these top. Alright, now that we've done this, we need to mirror it. So go ahead, Shift A, and make an empty. Just throw that in there. Come and select this. Go to your modifier. Add a mirror modifier. As you can see, it already looks decent. Mirror object. Set that to your empty. Click X and click Z. Now when we move the mod tool, it's going to move just like that. So space it however you like, but just give it a decent amount of room there. Now we're going to go back to edit mode. We're going to hit E, or no, we're going to click the edge select. Select this edge, press E. E, and then I believe we are going off the X, no, the Y axis, yes, so just drag that out as far as you want. That should be about good. Do it for this side as well. Let's try this again. E, Y, boom. Alright, now that you've done this, we're gonna go ahead and we're going to go back to objects mode, and we're going to just scale it out so it's a bit longer like that. That looks about good. Now come under here. We're going to make some loop cuts. If I can just find, there it is. Just click once, and then you can adjust the number however you like. I think I'm going to stick with 6. That looks about good, but I don't know why it's not coming over here. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to add another modifier, and it's going to be the wireframe modifier. So you can see this is how we got those kind of bevel looking things in the original render. Go ahead, uncheck replace original, so now you just have those there. And then these are kind of sharp, so we are going to add a bevel modifier. Here it is. And we can just... Alright, so let's try this again. I kind of messed up when I was extruding. So, as long as you didn't hit the wrong keys like I did, you should have something like this. Now we're going to reapply that bevel modifier. And there we go, it is working this time. That is great. Go ahead, set the thickness for your wireframe. I think mine's good about there. Alright. So now we can start shading. This is really kind of where it gets complicated. as you can see here. Okay, so actually first before we start shading, let's drag that out a little bit, just like that. And then we are going to come over here to the shading tab. And we are now inside of look dev. So we can go ahead and create a new shader. And let's make it pretty metallic. Alright, and we'll just leave the base color for now. Actually, before we start texturing, let's go ahead and add our fog and lights. So to do that, just go back over to our layout tab and come here like this. Shift A, mesh, cube. Size that about the size of your scene. That should be good. Now we're just going to go and make it so we cannot see this, just as bounds. If I can remember where that is, I think it's here. Viewport display. Display as bounds. So now that's not in our way. And we can turn it into fog. So let's go back to our shading tab. Select that, new. And this is volumetric fog. So we're going to go ahead and search volume. Then we're going to go down to principled volume. And let's go for density of 0.3. Plug that volume into volume. And there's your nice fog. We can go ahead and actually turn that down a bit more. About there is good. Now let's add our light, so we're not using this included HDRI. Just make it a point light. Let's go ahead and pop that out. And my camera's on that side, so let's just about there, and then 10,000. You can just come click this and then check these. So we now have our light, which is very, very overpowering, but don't worry, we'll fix that. Alright, now it's time to do the actual texturing. First, we are going to add a Musgrave texture. Put that over here. And then a Voinoy texture. Right there. Let's go ahead and add a color ramp so we can control the roughness. And then with that color, go straight to roughness. And then just to make sure everything's in order with that. So as you can see, it's pretty weird looking. So we're gonna turn the dimension down. That detail is gonna go up and lack authority. But as you can see, it's pretty stretched here. So make sure you have your Node Wrangler add-on and just Control T. And now you can change the scale. So you can go ahead, mess around with it however you want. There we go. And then we can just turn that out there. Change the scale. That looks about good. Alright, so you may notice this looks a little bit different. I did go through and actually change some stuff. Mainly, I took, it was, normally it's at generated. Go ahead, take that off, connect your object to your vector, and then you should get something like this. now what we're going to do, we're going to, what is it? Just flip color ramp. Go ahead and click this and this. Bring that down. And then we want to click this and bring that up. There is good. Yep, just until you get kinda
stereophonic sound for the home is recorded on 2 separate tracks.
kind of something like that. Alright, now that you have the Musgrave where you want it, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and move this light just a bit away so it's not completely drowning the scene out. And we can go ahead and just color it how you want. That looks pretty good to me. Now you're gonna come back here, plug your vector into vector, and then we are going to plug color into factor just so we can see this. Change 3D to 4D, and then change this to Chebyshev. So now you kind of have these blocks, and you can just mess with the scale, whatever really looks good. Then we can go ahead and let's move this stuff over. And we're going to throw in a mix RBG. Plug that there. Color 2. And then we are going to change. Actually don't change it. Just leave it on mix, and then we can just kind of play with the factor till all the way this way is the Musgrave, all the way this way is the Flournoy. Musgrave is just kind of there for the dust feel, so we can just think about there is good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, and now what we're gonna do to really make this scene pop, go ahead and add a bump node, and then we're going to plug the normal into normal, and then the color into the normal. Nope, the height, I think. Yes, there we go. And now you can kind of just mess with the strength a bit. As you can see, big difference. You don't want it too strong, but about there. That looks pretty good. Alright. So now we've done this, we can come back to our layout, back to our camera, and see how it looks at cycles. And I think that looks pretty awesome. Another thing we can do if we come back to shading is the base color. Go ahead and turn that down, and then we can come back over here. Yep, I think we should move the light kind of in a bit. So it's about there, and I believe, yep, alright. Now we are going to make the color a little bit more reddish. That looks pretty good. And now we're going to add our emission textures along here. Really simple, really easy. Alright. Just go ahead, mesh, cube, Obviously, we don't want it this big. Just about there should be good. And then you can just bring that over to about there. And then we can, wrong scale. Where it's about reaching out, and then we can just, let's move our origin real quick. And there looks good. And then we can just Shift D, press escape, and then drag that over so it's about the same. Alright. Now what we're going to do is we're going to grab the hex code from our light. So go ahead and change that to hex and copy that number letter. And just make sure you copy that. Now we're going to come over here, select one of these, and then we are going to add a texture. Change this to emission. Color, go ahead and paste your hex code in there, and mine did not copy, so I'm going to go back, copy my hex code, and try this again. There we go. So now if we look at it, it's like that, but it's not very strong. There we go. So 17.7 looks pretty good. Go ahead and do the same for this one. Emission. Change the color. Boom. And then 17.7. That just brightens our scene, and I'll show you how to edit it after to make it look even better. Go ahead, come back to here. Let's really position our camera at a good spot. If we want, we can mess with the focal length. I don't think I'm going to. Yeah. Alright, time to add our character. Go ahead. If you made it this far in the series, you already know how to export your character and import it. So go ahead, append your rig, which is linked in the not this video, but I believe it's in episode 2. So you can go ahead and get it from there. We're going to open our rig, go to object, press A, and append. Once you're there, select the head, drop that window down, shader editor, and go ahead and find your texture. Mine is right there, and it's working and looking good. Go ahead, make this smaller, and then import your hats, wavefront.obj, boom, hats. Alright, now you've got your hats, orange select them, or primary select them, whatever you want to call them. Then go to your texture tab. Remember to delete the alpha textures. Very, very important. Now once you've done that, you can go ahead, close that shader tab, and Control P, object. Now once you've set up your rig, go ahead and scale him way down so that he fits in your scene. I just drag him to the edge there. Alright, and then we can bring him down to about there. Bring him over. I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera closer. Just see how that looks. Alright, I'm gonna make him a bit bigger to about there. And now we can go ahead and position him. Center him up there, Control Tab, and just get it to work however you like to position. Anything looks great with this. You can just really mess around with it. Nothing fancy. You can just make them looking out there or whatever. It's really 100% up to you. And what I'm going to do is drag it down. And there you go. So because this is a very noisy scene, make sure you do have your samples relatively high, and then go ahead and render your image. I'll be back once this is done, and I will show you how to really get a glare from those fades. Alright, so render is not quite done, but I want to show you guys an example of noise. See how these tiles are all like this? That is noise. So the higher samples, the less you get of that. What the denoising is doing is turning it into this, but it can take your quality, because as you can see here, you've got all these kind of weird, bumpy, dark and bright areas that really kind of look weird, but it's not your Musgrave texture, it's the noise. So really, like I said, this is a really noisy scene. I didn't really use a high sample count, so this is strictly for tutorials. Also, I don't know why, but our Musgrave texture has decided to stay in line with our lighting, so probably just me just glitching it out. Just like up here, I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, so go ahead and actually close this, don't save it. You're gonna want to go to your compositing tab and check this box, use nodes. And then we're gonna hit Shift A, search, viewer. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we're gonna use image to image, and then we're going to Shift A, search, glare, and just set that right in there. So now you can see it's already doing something. But so we're going to change it to fog glow. It really gets you that glare with the thing, and you can go ahead, you can change the size, you can do all kinds of different things with it. Actually going to delete that and try again because I messed it up. Shift A, glare, and just slap that on there. Fog glow. Alright, once you've done that, you can come back over here to rendering. Instead of render result, you can just click viewer node. So now you've got that glow image, save as, save it wherever. I'm just going to save it to my desktop. And then open your editing software of choice. I'm going to use Ribbit. It's a really simple and easy program. It's free. It's great for text and all these other kind of things. And mainly is text and effects is what I use it for. Really just kind of play around with everything and do all kinds of things with it. I think I'm actually going to use this. We're going to look for our, no, we don't want that. Vibrance. So you can really do all kinds of neat things with this. It just really depends what you're going for. If you want to go black and white, you know, it's all kinds of things you can do. But yeah, I think that's about it for this tutorial. I think the next one is doing this, or not this, but something similar with environment of sci-fi. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.